from South Carolina Public Radio. This is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on April 20th, 2026 from South Carolina Public Radio Studios here in Columbia. On this episode of The Lede, it's a bit of an econ pod. Comes out every now and then. We're talking the economy with Dr. Joy Von Nessen as we're past the first quarter of 2026. We also have a Gavin Open Seas Maritime Report, or GOSMAR, with SC Ports CEO Micah Mallace. And we visit Scout Motors' newly opened training facility and talk costs and labor. There are also 2 more gubernatorial ads to drop before the second SCGOP debate on Tuesday. A lot going on here. Also, check out the State House Gavel. Yes, we're still in session here, folks. Go to scetv.org/thegavel, where Tuesday through Friday, my instructor and myself bring you recaps, previews, big and small State House moments, meeting schedule, highlights, photos, videos, and more. And we're going to incorporate some of that in the pod. Not too much in this pod, though. We're talking econ. We also want to talk to you, and we can do that at 803-563-7169. You heard correspondent Kevin from the Masters.
Wow.
Still talking about that, guys. Still reveling in that. But you can call us from anywhere if you have a phone. 803-563-7169. We'd love to hear from you. You can even text us if you don't feel like comfortable talking to us. All right, let's look at what's on tap for this week at the State House. They're back for week 15. The Senate is debating its version of the budget, and the House is working through the calendar. So who knows what curveball we can expect? As we know, the SCDOT modernization bill will be debated in the House next week. Congress is in this week as well. And on the economic front, we get new consumer sentiment data on Friday. And another meeting highlight for you, the Senate Medical Affairs Committee on Tuesday morning will take up S-1095. That's a near total abortion ban bill that, even if it gets out of committee, faces tough odds of going anywhere. Again, listen to our last episode about that. And that was already in committee last week. They're continuing that meeting on Tuesday. We'll recap all that action for you in Saturday's podcast. But today, we're going to be a bit more econ heavy. Econ pod. Like I said, we're out of the first quarter of 2026, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster, up and down, from rulings against the tariffs and reimbursements starting to an American-led war with Iran that has completely strained the global economy, energy markets, and the shipping industry while pushing up inflation and spiking gasoline and diesel prices. And forcing you to understand what the Strait of Hormuz is. Again, every 20 years when we learn geography of the Middle East in the United States. So let's start off with Gavin's Open Seas Maritime Report, or GOSMAR. Yes. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Don't you just love the maritime industry?
Yes.
You have to, because it's such an economic driver of our state. You have to like it. That's right. We recently spoke with Micah Mallace, who is 6 months into leading the SC Ports Authority as president and CEO. He stopped by this week in South Carolina to discuss how one of the state's major economic engines is doing amid all of this that's going on in the world. And we spoke with him on April 1st. So while much has changed, much has also stayed the same.
The industry is at a challenging point right now, impacted by external factors, trade policy, things like that. And so everyone's trying to figure out kind of what to do. We're in this 3.5 now year freight recession. Again, that's market wide, not just South Carolina Ports Authority, but we're trying to compensate for those things. We're trying to make sure that we service our customers at an exceptional level, give them competitive rates so that we can win more of their business to offset some of the challenges that we see out there.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, some things have cropped up since in the 6 months you've been on the job, including the past month. We're recording this on April 1st, and we've been in this war with Iran for about a month now going on that. How has that affected shipping operations, maybe globally, and then also the ramifications, just the Port of Charleston itself?
Yeah, I mean, the global impacts are substantial. Obviously, there are Middle Eastern ports that are closed effectively, and so containers are piling up in India and other markets where they're not supposed to be. So there are some pockets of congestion. For us specifically, on the volume side or revenue side of our equation, it equates to 1 or 2% of our total volume. So it's a really minor impact for us commercially. Mm-hmm. But what is super impactful is the cost of fuel. We see diesel above $5 a gallon. That immediately hits the supply chain on the trucking side, and of course hits every shipper who depends on moving freight via truck. We're seeing some cost pressure, of course, because of it as well. And so it's a challenge globally, obviously. It's not as much of a challenge for us here on the revenue side, but costs continue to go up.
Obviously, it's only been a month. I don't know how quickly those trends develop, but do you see any pullback when it comes in terms of imports and what's coming ashore at this point?
You know, there have been folks in the industry who have said that war always motivates people to bring inventory into the U.S. early to avoid any shocks, to ensure they have inventory so they can service their customers. There are others who have said this will dampen demand because of course, with a fuel cost spike, that's a portion of Americans' pocketbooks, and they won't have that discretionary income to spend. It's too soon, I'd say, for us to see. We have not seen major impacts on our business, nor have we seen negative impacts, nor have we seen major uptick. I think it will be a little longer before we know.
Mm-hmm. When we look at tariffs, how have those been affecting business? Are those still really hurting in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. We saw corporate decision-making really slow down dramatically last year. Our customers who were kind of on the precipice of deciding to lease a building in our market or to, buy property to build a manufacturing facility or whatever, we saw a pullback on the decision. Now, the underlying proposal, the underlying financials, everything may have still suggested they should do it, but corporate America kind of said, whoa, let's take a pause. Mm-hmm. Then in the supply chain industry, we saw an impact where when there was a 90-day tariff pause, everyone tried to bring goods into the U.S. all at the same time to avoid tariffs. And the global supply chain is not made for that kind of big peak, low valley volumes. And so it was challenging. It was all this surge of volume all at one time, and then the latter half or the second half of last year was just a very, very slow time. Mm-hmm. So tough financially. So absolutely there have been impacts, anecdotally only, but as we talk to our customers, what we are hearing more and more is people get maybe not comfortable, but realistic about the fact that tariffs are just going to be a reality of this administration and they're going to change frequently. Mm-hmm. And so we think that we're hearing kind of a common chorus of opinion that says, we have to continue to make decisions. We have to service our customers. And so we think that a lot of our customers are going to have more of they're getting back to making decisions. Mm-hmm. They're getting back to, if they needed capacity in our market, they're going to do it. And so we're anxiously awaiting that. We're optimistic that is going to materialize, and that's what at least our customers are kind of telling us right now.
Talking to Micah Mallace right there from SE Ports. Okay, so what does this all mean?
You tell me.
Well, let's zoom out to a bigger economic picture here and continue to look at the global ramifications being felt locally and how our labor market is doing as well as the economy. To do that, we have Dr. Joey von Nessen, who we last heard from in December about his 2026 economic outlook, which did not include war inflation. We didn't get that one on the record back then, but he told me this last week when I asked him for an economic checkup.
Well, overall, the one thing that hasn't changed is the uncertainty that we are still experiencing. And certainly this is coming from a new source now in terms of the back and forth in the Middle East, the uncertainty there associated with energy prices, especially in terms of how it affects the economy. Right now at the national level and in South Carolina, we are still seeing positive economic growth, but we are seeing a resurgence of inflation, which is the real wild card that we have been looking at as a factor that could slow down the economy in 2026. We have seen inflation now tick above 3% as we've seen rising energy prices. That's filtered down into gas prices going up for the average South Carolinian, of course. That's gone up by about $1 a gallon over the last 6 weeks or so. And that raises additional concerns that consumer spending more broadly may cut back as we look ahead to the second half of the year. Mm-hmm. So overall, we are still expecting positive growth in 2026, but slower than we were expecting at the start of the year. This is basically just another economic headwind.
Yeah, which is kind of concerning because folks were hoping that we'd get a little bit more clarity this year, especially with the tariff situation being somewhat resolved with refunds. But this is a big curveball that is really affecting a lot of things, like you're saying, when it comes to CPI, 3.3% right now for the year, with energy costs really driving that, and that ticked up 0.9% too in March when everything was kind of trending down. So it's kind of unfortunate to see that. I mean, do you see that? Do we even really know the full ramifications of what that looks like right now, just 6-7 weeks into this war?
We don't yet, because energy prices going up can be integrated into industries across the board. So it's not just about the price at the pump, although that's certainly important. But when you think about everything that you buy, there are transportation costs associated with it. So when you're buying things that are shipped to your house on Amazon, or you're going to the grocery store, those are groceries that have to be shipped. We have a lot of other items that come through the Gulf as well, things like aluminum and fertilizer and other chemicals. So it's not just about oil prices themselves. And so that filters to the broader economy, and we may see additional impacts on inflation later this year. And the reason that's so important to keep our eye on in 2026 is because we have to remember that consumers are still recovering that lost purchasing power. We talk a lot about that, but this has been a multi-year process. Consumers lost purchasing power between 2020 and 2022. They're slowly clawing it back. We've clawed back about half of what we lost. So we still have a ways to go, and this, again, is another headwind in terms of getting back to where we were and could potentially limit consumer spending.
Yeah, Joey, to that effect, when we talk about the consumer, affordability has always been the biggest issue, even back to the election 2024. But when we're talking about consumer sentiment, that's plunged to its lowest level in like 5 years plus. Affordability, again, is a big issue. So again, going back to the consumer, how much longer can the American consumer hang on to this when we look at prices, we look at shrinkflation, all these different aspects of the economy right now?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. And right now, consumers have been very resilient. We've continue to see fairly steady rates of consumer spending into early 2026. But how long can that last, and how high can inflation go? I think certainly from an energy standpoint, one metric to look at is perhaps an inflection point. Again, I say that take it with a grain of salt. If we look at oil prices, if they get above $150 a barrel consistently, then that would be more of a red flag in terms of how high prices would have to rise in order to really filter through and cause a broader pullback. Because if you look back to 2011 and 2012 in the aftermath of the Arab Springs, we saw oil prices get to $150 a barrel. It did not cause a recession, did have an impact on consumer spending. So there is a little bit of wiggle room there. Again, if we're just talking about avoiding recession, for oil prices to rise for a brief period of time. But again, not a whole lot of wiggle room, and certainly that will create slower growth for the second half of the year.
And with a minute, Joey, just again, kind of reiterate where we are right now in April, looking out for the rest of the year.
So we expect slower growth for the second half of the year, mainly because we've seen an uptick in inflation, and that is having an impact on consumer spending. And we have to remember that consumers are still recovering that lost purchasing power. But having said that, we are not anticipating a recession. We are anticipating slower growth. But particularly in South Carolina, we've been far more resilient. Most industries are still seeing positive growth, particularly in the services sector. So we're cautiously optimistic as we move into the summer months.
That's Dr. Joey von Nessen from USC. And both of those interviews are available on youtube.com/@SCETV News. Next up, Scout Motors.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. On Monday, the electric vehicle manufacturer opened its training center in Blythewood near its sprawling 5 million square foot production facility that is still under construction. If you're driving on I-77 outside of Columbia, you've seen it, you've experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. There's so much going on out there when it comes to land work and infrastructure and railroads and utilities and bridges and lanes and then the production facility. And of course, Scout is not only ramping up all that work, but it's heading towards its goal of staffing up to 4,000 employees. That's right. Folks will be building those electric Terra truck and Traveler SUVs right there in Blythewood. Scout has already hired more than 600 folks, including 100 production associates and technicians like Deshae Bates, who had no background in manufacturing, but had the drive to learn and heard about the job through a radio ad.
When I started the pre-hiring assessment, there were 18 of us in the first class. Today, 2 of us have made it through. That wasn't easy, and this job wasn't just handed to me, but it made me proud. Proud to stick with it, proud to believe in myself, and proud to prove that opportunity plus support can change a life.
Scout Motors President and CEO Scott Keogh said 17,000 people like Shay have expressed interest so far in working for the company.
I think if you look at the site itself, to think that we broke ground less than 2 years ago, and to see 5 million square feet under roof on ready, actually the speed of the construction of this site has been phenomenal. If I look specifically at the vehicles, I'll try to make it straightforward into phases. The trickiest thing we do will be this year. So at the end of this year, we will build the first early concept cars. To give you a sense of that, right, you have thousands of parts coming from around the country, all coming together, being galvanized here. and assembled and put together to make a vehicle. From there, the vehicles will get more and more mature. So then we'll make another phase of vehicles in 27, a third phase also later in 27, and then the actual vehicles that will go into the hands of the customers will go into 28. So that's exactly what I'll call crudely the 3 phases as we do it now. But the reason we're anxious to get people trained, which is what you're seeing here, is of course get those early cars built. And I think it's an important thing to think about. Historically, what you would do is you would let others build these early cars. You'd say, let's hand them out to a prototype shop. Let's go find a company that can do it. We didn't want to do that because we wanted to make sure from day one the workers knew how to build a Scout. With regard to hiring, frankly, hiring ramps up with production. So over time, as you know, we want to be 3 shifts. As you know, over time, we want to get upwards of 200,000 units. But as I look at it now, we have 600 thereabouts employees. A portion of those are already the factory employees. These started with maintenance, and now you're seeing the production. You had a few meet them now. And that will ramp up as we build these prototype cars, and then we'll really ramp up as we build production. And let's not be naive. You want to align these things. You don't want to be sitting on extra costs when you don't have revenue, and you want to time this exactly right. But that's exactly what we're doing.
I also asked Keough about the heat the company has received for locating its corporate headquarters in nearby Charlotte.
I think that criticism is, first of all, unfair, and second of all, unfounded. And I think it doesn't represent reality, in my opinion. I think the first thing, and by far, if you look at the amount of dollars and the amount invested, the simple answer is South Carolina won. This is by far the largest event where dollars are being. We have 4,000 employees that will be here, plus another 5,000 in the supply base, so it's massive. We have to look at the realities of the headquarters, and I think, honestly, it comes down to size and demographics. The market here would have been extremely difficult to find another 1,200 employees on top of all the hiring that we're doing. That is a fact, nothing to do with the state or anything. I think the second thing, without a doubt, of course, is the fact that they had a building ready to go. The third thing, of course, as I said, is geography. The fourth thing is to be able to get the engineering talent and everything else. So when you put that assessment together, we made the right choice, and we had the conversation on that front. But anyone looking for it as somehow disrespectful to South Carolina is completely inaccurate, 100%. The building was ready to go. It's a larger city. It has an airport that can take us to Europe, and for those reasons, we made the decision.
Now, the $25 million training facility was funded by Ready SC with support from the state technical college system. But meanwhile, the State Department of Commerce has said it needs an extra $150 million for site cost overruns on top of the $1.3 billion in incentives that the project was previously approved for. That included that substantial infrastructure work that we're seeing happen on that site. But that request went unfulfilled in the House budget and Senate Finance Committee budget. It's being debated this week. Governor Henry McMaster was asked about this.
Eventually, it will be there because it must be there. That was part of the deal, that we'd make the site ready. This money's not going to Scout; it's going to the site to make that site ready. So we will do what we said we were going to do.
So yes, that $150 million is also a sticking point on the campaign trail, which we're jumping on right now. That's right, the next SCGOP debate is on April 21st. That's Tuesday for listening today on Tuesday. There will be 5 moderators and 6 candidates. So there's going to be 11 people on there.
Interesting.
Now, the 6 candidates confirmed by the party include Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evett. That's right, she didn't participate in the first one. She's making her debut in Charleston, along with Spartanburg Senator Josh Kimbrell, 1st District Congresswoman Nancy Mace, 5th District Congressman Ralph Norman, businessman Ram Reddy, and AG Alan Wilson. This will be at the College of Charleston at 7 p.m. We'll have some highlights for you in the podcast. Hopefully we'll have better audio than the first debate. Who knows? Now, SCETV will soon announce dates and times for a Republican and Democratic gubernatorial debate, as well as an Attorney General debate. There won't be 5 moderators either. Just two. But do you have any questions you think we should ask? Do you? 803-563-7169. Throw them in the wind down sections. We can debate it. If it's a good question, I'll use it. Let me know what you guys are thinking about. Okay, keeping with the trail, we're talking ads. Attorney General Alan Wilson dropped a new ad last week called Convoy that his campaign says features firsthand accounts from soldiers who served alongside Wilson during his deployment in Iraq. Wilson has served nearly 3 decades in the Army National Guard, including a combat deployment during Operation Iraqi Freedom. He currently holds the rank of captain.
So I was driving when we got hit. I remember the blast passing through us, through our bodies, kind of surreal.
Alan took a detail up to Turkey. He was attacked. They were just in a kill zone.
Alan was a steady, constant voice of calm and direction.
I've trusted him with my life.
He got everybody home safely. He's the right man for the job.
If you want to go to battle with anybody by your side, you want Alan Wilson.
We got another campaign ad. Congressman Ralph Norman dropped a new statewide TV ad on Monday titled Us Versus Them. The campaign says the ad highlights Norman's commitment to clean up Columbia by prioritizing the hardworking folks who call the Palmetto State home and shaking up the system so it no longer benefits rhinos and career politicians. Take a listen.
We must move South Carolina in a conservative direction. But to do that, we have to change the system. We need term limits for the career politicians. We should let we the people vote on judges. And we should spend money on roads instead of pay raises for politicians. It's us versus them.
Ralph Norman, called a taxpayer superhero by Citizens Against Government Waste. Clean up Columbia. Ralph Norman, the conservative for governor.
Now, we bring you those ads in case you don't watch TV or consume only public media, which we support. If you do watch commercial TV, sorry to continue the bombardment. We just like to keep everyone up to date on what's being done and said on the campaign trail as much as we can. And we will look at gubernatorial fundraising numbers in Saturday's pod, along with a great debate recap. So stay tuned, folks. Got you covered. Welcome to the wind down section. A little break from the news. We're glad you're here, along with A.T. Shire, lead podcast producer.
Hello.
AT.
Hello, folks. I'm not just the podcast producer,
No.
okay? I also man the phone lines here at SC Lead.
Yeah, he's our operator who's always standing by.
I have a
Listen, I'm more than just a podcast
huge
producer.
switchboard with quarter-inch plugs. That's what my office looks like.
You're plugging things
Yeah,
in.
it looks like a huge analog synth. Anyway, Gavin, we got a call from, we already got one from the islands. Then we get one from the Masters. Now we're getting another one from the high seas, okay?
Oh, perfect for the GOSMAR.
That's right. It very much fits with GOSMAR. Gavin's, I don't know if it's favorite, probably second favorite after infrastructure. But what is GOSMAR except the infrastructure of the seas? But anyway, Gavin, let's get to this call.
Go ahead, operator.
Hello, this is Abby and Robert and the fur babies on Salem Vessel Time. I apologize for the long break in making phone calls. Have been kind of neglectful. We are, of course, I'm listening to all the shows, and then the day when I hear that your caller was on my road, which I am currently at the island just a few miles from Myro, Canaron, and the St. Vincent's and Grenadine island chain, probably the prettiest place in the Caribbean. It put the bug under me, and so here I am. I am continuing to enjoy the podcast, keep up with what's going on, and getting ready for the upcoming elections, keeping a keen eye on everybody who's running, and hopefully we'll have some strong candidates against our senator. Certainly am in support of that. And weather's breezy down here. We had our absolute best sail down from Mystique to here, and we're continuing to go south. Hope everything's good in South Carolina, and I'll be checking in again sooner than later. Thanks. Bye.
Love hearing from our SV Time crew and our island reports. I mean, this is just brutal to hear, but I love hearing from them. It sounds wonderful out there.
It sounds amazing. These places' names, Grenadine, Mystique, come on. That's gorgeous.
Do we have to do our next live taping on the boat in the Caribbean?
Yeah,
I think so.
We need it in an island chain.
Hey, guys, we're crowdfunding for this one. So. You're on the hook for
If it just be Abby, Robert, and the fur babies in the
just
studio, that's
hanging.
okay. Like we can take Mayan and Meg on the boat. It will all fit.
It'd be wild if they had like a lead meetup out in the Caribbean. Like, okay, well, thanks for thinking of us, guys. We appreciate that.
We're there in spirit, I guess. Would love to be there in person, but they're in spirit.
And you know what they're missing, AT? They're missing the pollen.
The pollen
here.
season is a lot right now.
It has not rained in the state for some time. We are in drought.
Yes.
I was hiking because I'm trying to do all the state parks, trying to get my ultimate outsider T-shirt. I have the state parks passport. I have the book. You gotta get the stamps.
The man's got a goal, folks.
Things happen when you buy a Subaru, folks.
Yeah.
You have hiking boots. But I was like, Sunday, I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna try a different state park besides where I've been going. So I went to Poinsett State Park right there in Sumter near the bomb range.
The bomb range, yeah.
There's a bombing range out there for real, which is exciting. Not where you hike because you can't. Wish you could. But I'm out there, AT, and I'm like, nature, it's nice. It was like overcast somewhat on Sunday. There's no humidity.
It was cool.
We got the good time of the year. We got to embrace this time while we have it.
But it was windy.
Because it was also 90 degrees on Saturday. Then it got windy and like cool on Sunday. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do this.
The wind is what got you, though, because around these bomb ranges is exclusively like skinny, gross southern pines.
Oh, yeah. And it's dusty.
And you know what those bad boys put out.
Putting it all out. And I didn't think about it. I did take my allergy pill the morning of just because I'm doing that. Thank God I did, because if I didn't, I was already in bad shape. I had a dry cough going here
It's
and there.
like microdosing mace. It's really bad, dude.
It's for watering. I would get a good sneeze in every now and then, interrupting nature. So I got 8 miles in, but a lot of it was pretty torturous in a sense.
Really tough stuff. Rena and I were coughing walking in and out of not Borders, Barnes and Noble.
There you go.
Because we had to go buy Yertle the Turtle. Also, we bought the little board books of the Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah.
And then I found out that they are edited down versions of the regular one. And so, like, Fox and Socks is actually like triple the length, quadruple the length with insane things in it. I mean, like, it's stuff that it's impossistro to read.
They're depriving your child of her childhood.
It's so much. Yeah,
shrinkflation, I would say.
It was major shrinkflation, Seuss shrinkflation. But Gavin, I'm in quite a problem at home right now. Okay.
Oh, well, you've come to the right place.
For years and years, we had these stools at our kitchen table. You know, they're like
form-fitting,
no back, just like a tractor seat stool. Most people, if you've gone on the internet, you know what I'm talking about. They were popular 10 years ago. We finally got new stools. Everyone that listens knows that I'm a finely tuned machine, okay?
Yes.
I am cutting corners perfectly. I'm Tokyo drifting around this kitchen.
It's incredible.
Okay? It's incredible the way he moves, folks, okay? It's like Usain Bolt and Vin Diesel and Gordon Ramsay all in one. But, so, these stools are slightly wider at the base. I am smacking my feet on these nonstop because they are 1 inch larger than the other ones at the base.
You're so fine-tuned that
I'm
you're not ready.
so used to cutting these corners exactly. I am destroying my toes. I think I got like 3 black toenails right now. It's destroying me. But these new stools, they got backs, dude.
Oh,
they got backs. They're really nice.
Well, you need that for the kids too, I feel like. You know, eventually you're going to need some backs. But the temptation to lean back, is that there? Or is it?
It's hard to do because the base is so wide.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work
That's
well.
good, stable.
But yeah, Rena wanted to get up on those really, the cost of toenails. The cost of 3 toenails. But Rena wants to get up there. I put her up, and we've been working on her talking a lot more. She's almost 2.
Yeah,
she's
good.
2 Monday, a week from today.
Oh my God. We're going to have to put that on the pod. I'm going to make a note of that.
And she sits down on the seat and she goes, "This is it. This is the seat."
She's like, "Wow, I'm getting there."
I'm like, "Hell yeah, it is, girl. Really good." Anyway, folks, this is it. This is the end of the podcast. Gavin, say goodbye.
Like
One more boat horn for the end. There we go. Okay.
Give us a shout. Just like our crew on SV Time down the islands, 803-563-7169. We love hearing from you guys, even if it makes us really jealous. Also, maybe you got some new furniture in your kitchen. Maybe you're stubbing your toes too. Love to hear those stories. We're all one big lead family. We want to hear from you. I was going to ask you about shouting. I mean, have you just been screaming when you stub your toes and like the kids get like really scared?
It's always like when I'm by myself and I'm rushing to eat lunch before I come back to work. And I just get, at first there were yells. And then Now it's just a seething silence that I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
But you have your shoes on.
No.
Oh, they're always off.
They're always off, and I'm cranking my toes into these bad boys. It sucks.
Full speed ahead. You can also stay up to date with the latest news on SCETV.org and SouthCarolinaPublicRadio.org, and don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lede is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. For the South Carolina Lede, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina.
Bombing in progress.
Air to
Do
ground
not come bombing in progress. What?
I think the fence would have deterred me, but yeah, okay, the sign now makes me want to go on to the property.
Well, I want to steal the sign.
Yeah.
I want the sign.
I need the sign.
Put it in the bathroom.
That's a cool sign.
This is a great bathroom sign.